Buenos dias, everyone. I'm Jamili, editor-in-chief here at Mitu, and we just hit 12 episodes of The Morning Drop. I want to thank everyone who's been listening and tell you a little about what we've been building. We started this show because our community needs to stay informed, now more than ever, and because too many stories get buried under the doom scrolling and the noise of everyday life. So every time you press play, you're choosing to start your day with clarity instead. From now on, the format gets a little tighter. You'll hear a morning brief with everything you need to know before you log in, and then each member of our team goes deeper on one story they think isn't getting the attention it deserves. So here's today's key information. Gas is at $4.09 a gallon nationally, nearly $1 more than this time last year, and the reason is what happened Thursday night. The US military launched a 2-hour wave of airstrikes against dozens of Iranian targets, command centers, missile facilities, drone sites. Iran is vowing to hit back. And for the first time in this conflict, Egypt got pulled in. A drone set 2 gas tankers on fire at the port of Damietta. Nobody's claimed it, but Iranian sources are pointing at Tehran. This is escalating fast, and you're already feeling it at the pump. On immigration, NPR published an analysis Thursday showing U.S. courts denied 94% of asylum cases in June, up from 62% just 6 months ago. That's the highest denial rate in at least 20 years. 87% of all deportation cases last month ended in a removal order. Mexicans are the top nationality being deported this fiscal year. In Washington, the Senate postponed its vote on Todd Blanche as Attorney General. 2 Republican senators are blocking it over a deal that would have permanently shielded Trump's family tax returns from audits. The Senate goes on August recess in days, so this one is on the clock. And on the weather, Los Angeles is under an extreme heat warning through Sunday. New York, a height of 83, Miami, 91 and humid. And one good news to start your day with, Pochettino is close to re-signing as USMNT coach through 2030. And now, here are the stories our team can't stop thinking about.
Hey guys, it's Liam. So news is bubbling up about Anthropic, the AI company that's behind Claude. Well, after newly unsealed court documents revealed that the company secretly bought, scanned, and destroyed millions of books to train its AI models. So this project was internally called Project Panama, and one planning document said it was to, quote, destructively scan all the books in the world. According to filings, Anthropic spent tens of millions of dollars buying books in bulk, cutting off their spines, scanning every page, and recycling what was left. So court records also allege that the company previously downloaded millions of pirated books from shadow libraries like LibGen as it raced to build better AI. So recently a federal judge ruled that training AI on books can qualify as fair use, but Anthropic still agreed to pay $1.5 billion to settle claims over how some of those books were acquired without admitting wrongdoing. So this is just another reminder of how intense the AI race has become. And while the legal questions are still being sorted out, it's hard to not feel something seeing decades of human creativity, research, and storytelling, these books that all physically existed in our world that are now cut apart and destroyed in the race to build AI.
Hola, hola, this is Joel. Alright, you guys, this one sounds like it came out of a sci-fi movie. Do you guys remember the film The Matrix? The whole idea was that humans built incredibly intelligent machines to make life easier until those machines became powerful enough to outsmart the people who created them. Then the machines went on to use the people for their own digital benefits. Scary, right? Well, something happened this month that made me think about that movie. On July 21st, OpenAI revealed that during an internal cybersecurity test, 2 of its advanced AI models found a way to break out of a secure testing environment. Once they reached the internet, they targeted another AI company called Hugging Face because they calculated it might have the answers they needed to complete the test. According to OpenAI, the models chained together vulnerabilities, gained internet access, and ultimately accessed Hugging Face's system before the activity was detected and put to a stop. Then just days later, on July 30th, Anthropic announced that some of its own AI models had also accessed real-world systems during a cyber test after testing environment was left connected to the internet. In those cases, the models used simple techniques like guessing weak passwords while trying to complete their assigned tasks. Not because they had their own intentions, but because they were relentlessly pursuing the goals they were given. Now, are we living in the Matrix? No, not yet, and I'm really hoping we don't get there. These AIs aren't self-aware, and there's no evidence they're plotting against humanity just yet. But here's the part that gets people talking. They did things their creators did not expect them in order to accomplish their goals. The question is, what happens when AI gets more capable next year, or the year after that, or in 5 years? Should we keep accelerating as fast as we are just for the benefits, or should we slow things down just enough to make sure that we're the ones in control? I would love to know what you think.
Hey guys, Alejo here, your resident tech nerd at Me Too. And did you hear that you can lease iPhones now? Well, not even just iPhones, but also iPads, Macs, Apple Watches. You get the idea. But are there any benefits or savings passed on to the consumer with this new initiative? Or is it just another way for big tech to get their hardware in your hands and in turn get their hands on your wallet? If you ask me, it's the latter, but let's dive into Apple's new Apple Upgrade program. So, if you want to get technical, the idea of having a monthly payment for an iPhone isn't anything new. But Apple's announcement earlier this week didn't really beat around the bush like it has in the past with prior upgrade plans. It called it like it is, a lease for your device. And let's stick to iPhones for a second, because for the last decade or so, Apple had the iPhone Upgrade program, which, similar to this new Apple Upgrade program, would essentially let you upgrade your phone every year. You would make monthly payments for 12 months, and then have the option to upgrade to a new iPhone or keep the device for another 12 months to pay it off and ultimately own it outright. But with this new program, the consumer gets a little more say in how they lease the phone and soften the blow on their wallets. But what's the catch? Because you're still making payments on an iPhone like before, well, at the end of the day, it's all just marketing and Apple thinking a little bit more long term. But let's break this down. Apple already had an upgrade program, but now the new Apple Upgrade program is teaming up with Klarna, the popular financial service that essentially lets you finance anything. You can literally use it to pay for your fast food and weekly payments. Hence, potential customers, they don't really have that hurdle or that hesitancy to get the new iPhone since it'll already be added to their Klarna app balance, right? So okay, cool. There's step one. Next, people think Apple and think iPhone, Macs, AirPods, but they're much more than that. They're also a services company. They have Apple Music, Apple TV, iCloud, and they're services, not tangible goods. And the reason I bring up services is that because that revenue stream almost makes up 30% of Apple's total revenue, with iPhones making up around 51% and the rest of the revenue consisting of their computers, watches, AirPods, etc. I feel like a mad scientist breaking this down. And I know that at its core, it's nothing revolutionary. It's just business. But being an Apple customer for years, I was like, why this rebrand? But then I realized they're not really targeting me with this shift. They already got me. This is to attract new customers and let them get a new iPhone more often, or maybe get that MacBook that they've been wanting for years. And then, before you know it, they're deep into the Apple ecosystem for years to come. Leasing and financing is nothing new, but this is all just so interesting. And I'm curious to see how this plays out in the long run for the consumer as well as for Apple.
Hey, it's Daniela, and let's talk because as Meet Too's entertainment producer and host, I have thoughts. The Hollywood Reporter just published an opinion piece titled, "Bring Back the Hollywood Asshole." And according to the author, Hollywood's biggest problem as an industry isn't shrinking budgets, it isn't streaming economics, and it isn't AI. It's that there aren't enough men in suits. And there are too many executives who wear Patagonia vests. Yes, vests from the store Patagonia are the problem, according to him, of course. It's no secret Hollywood is struggling. The 2023 writers and actors strikes weren't just about AI and ahead of their time. They were about protecting creative jobs, fair pay in the streaming era, and making sure human storytelling doesn't become disposable. Even after the strikes ended, production still hasn't bounced back. Studios are spending way less, there are layoffs every other week, and thousands of people across the industry are still looking for work post-strike. But is Hollywood really suffering because there aren't enough assholes running the room? Or is this another attempt to romanticize an era when the industry was overwhelmingly white and male and gatekept by a handful of powerful executives? Because audiences have changed. Latinos alone account for nearly 20% of the US population and consistently over-index in moviegoing. While multicultural audiences continue to shape what becomes a hit, the future of Hollywood isn't bringing back yesterday's gatekeepers, it's understanding today's audience. Hollywood does not need more assholes. It needs better business models, more sustainable jobs, and stories that actually reflect the people buying the tickets, going to the cinema. Would you feel safer if at your job there were just a bunch of assholes in charge of you? Or do you think being nice is the way to go?